Welcome to the show. All Things Bulldogs. Here we go, here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Blue and white pride. Bulldogs for life. Dog father here. Gas by my side.
G'day doggies, fans, all things Bulldogs. I'm on my walk and just got the news come through from numerous sources that Bronson Xerri may have played his last game for the Bulldogs. So we'll break it down, guys. I've reached out to a couple of people. Obviously, no silence. It's obviously going to be silent for a while. But basically, guys, in my gut, I think that he has asked for a request for a release. Do I think it's because he's been moved to right centre? I don't believe that for 1 second. Not when you invested and stuff. But one thing I will say is Bronson, noticeably in the first couple of games, and we spoke about it, did look a little bit behind the 8 ball. He wasn't striding freely and stuff. He struggled with injury. G'day, Gas. Welcome. How you going, mate?
Good, mate. Good.
Yeah, it'd be nice if I could actually hear you in my headphones, which I can't.
Can you hear me or not? Yeah.
Which sucks.
No.
But I might be able to turn you up though. So, how you been, mate?
Good, guys. Good. Interesting.
Not the best
news, mate.
News to hear on a Saturday afternoon, obviously.
No, not ideal. I was actually thinking about Bronson. If you remember, obviously his suspension that he had for his drug bust. That 4 years that he did was like soul searching for him. He didn't, he was in a very dark place. So for him at the moment, anything that's probably a negativity at the moment that doesn't sort of fit into his sort of comfort might bring back those memories. Maybe I'm just thinking like from it's not easy to suffer some adversity. When you've had that before, it brings back too many memories. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm just thinking from his perspective, if he's had any challenges and things aren't, because look at the way he is with the three amigos. Like that's like a combination that they've got this union. If he feels like
Yeah.
he's not going to be part of it, that might be a big crushing blow to his inner self.
Yeah.
So if he feels like he feels he's on the outer, or if something's there, if his contract's not going to be renewed or whatever it might be, if he feels like he's not going to be part of the team, it might be bringing back memories of a dark place and a dark time that he suffered. So, which is maybe leading to some of this stuff.
You hear me, Gus?
Yeah, I
You hear
can
me?
hear you, mate. Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
well, that's good. Yeah, sorry, because I can hear you now, which is awesome. I fixed something in the settings. Yeah, well, let me ask you this. In my gut, one of the things I was looking towards next year's roster, something was going to have to give, and I would suspect Bronson wouldn't be on small coin. Like, I don't think he's on top coin. I think he'd be on, anywhere between 350 and 550. I wouldn't know, but in my gut, I wouldn't think that he would be a priority signing for next year. Which, if that's already sort of, so you can see these things that happen. You talking about what you're talking about. If he was to have, manager has gone to the club and said, "Can we get sorted for next year?" Obviously, they get back from Las Vegas. He's been a free agent since November.
Mm.
Do you think that would have something to do with it?
It could. It could. He might have the uncertainty in his sort of contract might have been there, and he's obviously been. You trust your manager to get things sorted with the club, but
Yeah.
if for whatever reason the Bulldogs have their own reasons, let's say for his, for not wanting to extend his contract, for whatever reasons, whatever might be happening, that might be something that he's got a challenge with. I mean, if you remember, I spoke a few weeks ago in the podcast about
Yeah.
the player that I feel has got the biggest improvement this year, and I named Bronson Xerri. I said it
Yeah.
very clearly. I said, to
And I
me,
agree
I
with you.
said he's the guy that has not done what. I mean, if anybody remembers Bronson Xerri before, when he was at Cronulla, and the way that he played his game free, he was running, he was fast, he was just damaging. We haven't seen any of that Bronson since he's come back. What we've seen is a very conservative defensive player, and a player that tries to do all the right things but doesn't do all the additional things, doesn't take
Yeah.
the risks, he just tries to be very sure in what he does. It's almost like, he just wants to be safe and not risk anything. But I think the Bulldogs are sort of looking, they said, well, in that position, we're already paying top dollar for the other centre. We need someone who can deliver on that side. And they need someone who can. So I don't know, like what the reasoning is behind it from both sides. What something might come out to contradict a lot of what we might be saying. But at the end of the day, I still feel like he's got the biggest improvement in the Bulldogs in the position that he's in, which is a very important position. And who knows? Like we saw all the players, recording amazing scores in their training and all the stuff. We don't know what his training was. We don't know if that was behind where he was last year, the year before. We don't know all of that. You know what I mean? To what level he's at. Whether he had injuries that affected that. But at the moment, he still has a lot of improvement in his game. So that's that's something that the Bulldogs will have to manage. Now, unfortunately for us, it's probably the area as well that we've spoken about there. We're kind of a little bit light on at the moment in the outside backs. So as much as we've got some players that can step up, we do have a bit of we are a bit light in the outside backs at the moment. So that's you know, look at the forward depth we've got at the moment, but yeah, that's something we're going to have to deal with. So let's have a look at a few of those chats as well.
Thanks, mate. Struggling with the.
Timmy's rocking his air guitar.
No, we're not.
What's going on
Burton's
with
not
Bronson?
going to
You there,
centre.
Michael? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, mate. Can you hear me?
Lost your sound, mate.
All right. You just keep talking, mate. Hello.
So yeah, not sure if
Can you hear me?
guys, if you can hear Michael or not. Can anyone give me some? I can't hear Michael at the moment. Not sure if anyone else can hear him or if you can hear me.
Hello,
he said
hello,
to
hello.
keep talking. Yep. Oh, you can
Can you
hear
hear me?
both. Okay, I can hear you now, mate. Yeah, sorry, guys.
Yeah, I just had to leave the chat.
No, you're right. Yeah, guys.
Yep.
So so there's going to be a lot of potential, changes that could affect, from that position. So who knows? Obviously, Andy, a few of you were talking here, like, putting a few
Getting phone
comments.
calls.
Yeah, Andy's talking about, for example, Burton to centre, Galvin to 5'8", and then obviously you'd bring in Sullivan, the halfback, or whatever it might be. So there's a few permutations that people are looking at. At the moment, I don't think that maybe that's what the club's looking for. At the end of the day, I still think if anything is going to happen and all of this is true, I feel like they would still just want to replace Bronson only without making mass changes around the team. They've worked a lot of areas in that team. I think someone like a Tuala might be next man up at the moment, and he comes into the team. Maybe, who knows?
Can you hear me,
You there?
Gus?
Yeah, I can hear you
Can you
now,
hear
mate.
me?
You're back. Yeah, I
Oh,
can hear
good.
you now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just getting phone calls from everywhere. I'm on the podcast, guys. Jump on. But people, Burton won't be moving to centre. I can tell you that now.
Yeah.
It's a stupid idea. I'm sorry to say, because we're just sick of saying it. Yes, he's probably the second best centre in the club, but he's also the best number 6 and our most experienced half, an important player to have on that edge. They've formed their combination over the summer. It's Burton, Kickout, Critter, and Perez. They're our left edge. They're not going to fuck with it. I can tell you that right now. Not this early,
Yeah.
unless they do a complete reset. If they do that, you're going to need to give them time to get it going. And Ari Tuala will come into right centre, in my opinion, and he'll play with Montoya. He's the next man up, and that's how it'll work.
Yes.
And reports from all pre-season and training was that an Ari Tuala and Sean O'Sullivan were two of the best performed people outside some of the young guns who really impressed, which is exactly what we want. So it's the Bulldogs obviously will manage the business. For whatever reason, they'll do what they do to protect the club, and Xerri and his management will do what they've got to do for the best interest of him. It's just funny, the rhetoric. So it's like, it'll come out that Gus Gould didn't want him. you know, Serrato only gets praise when he's doing good, but he's never allowed to make decisions. And I'll tell you something now. I'll tell you this 100%. Cameron Serrato decides who comes and goes, right? You need to know that.
Correct.
If we pull out of the race of a player for a player, if we speak to a player, Cameron Serrato is behind all that. He has the final call. If he doesn't believe they're the right type, they don't come. And if he doesn't believe they're the right type, they don't stay. So, look, because I can tell you now, everyone knows. I think this is one thing Gus has learned. He does get excited by rugby league in general every week. He says things all the time. He knows what we need, and he knows what the club needs. But he also trusts his coach, like his own son, sort of thing. And I know for a fact Cameron Serrato will get the final call, and these decisions aren't easy, obviously. So there's a lot at stake here.
The hardest part about being a coach is these decisions. Yeah,
100%.
Tough gig.
Yeah, 100%.
Everybody loves to see the great stuff and the good stuff when they're doing well. And look, we've had a lot of access to Cameron Serrato this year across a few podcasts. He's put himself out there and spoken to everyone. So people have got an insight more into him as the person he is, the family man, etc. But don't get me wrong, this job is not an easy job. It's a tough gig, and these kinds of decisions are the reason. So when you're moving players around, it's. I mean, I had a special sort of a sit down with Wayne Bennett not long ago, and he said one of the hardest things he had to do was when he dropped Wally Lewis. He goes, the backlash was unprecedented in Brisbane. If anybody remembers that back in the day, it was crazy. But these are the decisions that define you. He goes, that was a decision he had to make, and he still stands by it. But that's how it works, guys. It's tough. So whatever Serrato is doing as a coach, and he's got the backing of whatever he's got from the club, because that's what they entrust him with. And the senior players at the end of the day, they will be on side with it, guys. As much as it's personal friendships involved, whatever decisions are being made will be still decisions that will not cause sort of that disunity in the team and in the club. So we don't know a lot of the stuff that could be behind the scenes, guys. We don't know challenges, things that are happening, personal issues. When nobody knows, and these may or may not come out in the near or distant future. But all these things we have to be respectful of Bronson for whatever's happening. If it's true, we have to respect his decision, and we have to respect the decision of the club either way. And we have to, it's a big club, it's a big operation, and we're just going to move with the time and just go with it, guys. It's not something that as much as all of us want to be selfish for ourselves and have what we think is the best. Bronson's a great team player. He's a great model in the club, but if the club feel that he's not the best player for us in what we're trying to achieve, then they will make that decision based on that information. So that's
Look, many people don't seem too concerned. It's like, we can move Burton to centre. Burton, we've not won a game with Burton at centre. Does anyone realise that?
Yeah.
We've actually lost every single game that he's played at centre. Gus and Dave might check that, but I'm pretty sure that is 100% correct. Matt Burton, we need him there. Sean O'Sullivan is a great clubman, but there's a reason why he's only played a maximum of 12 games in a season, people. And he wasn't the best halfback at the Dolphins. Obviously wasn't the best at Penrith, and we all understand that. He actually played his best at Penrith, and he will actually do a lot better in our system, I have no doubt. And he will be a wonderful replacement
to have. But why would we change up our whole edge and disrupt everything that they've worked on in their pre-season? So let's get it through our heads. Mitch Woods has a huge job just to make his debut this year, and that'll be the focus, to play well in New South Wales Cup, do really well there, and he'll get an opportunity. Meanwhile, Joey Tayalpa, Alex Conti, and a whole bunch of others are going to press hard as well to try and beat him to the punch. Some of them may have to debut, if we get some injuries, quicker than we would want them to. But as it stands, Matty Burton and Lachlan Galvin are our halves, and we just need to get up, just understand that. Galvin will be a better 6 than a 7, I have no doubt, but he will be an even better 6 for the time that he has spent in our club as the best 7 in our club. Now, Sean O'Sullivan will need to dominate the New South Wales Cup and all these other areas to go past Lockie Galvin, even. So let's I know Burton is a fantastic centre. He is the second best centre in our team, in our club. I 100% agree with that. And there's things that he does in his game which elite centres can do. But we are stable and we are a more potent attacking threat. In Vegas, if we had that extra 3 metres, the Dragons don't score another point. We score, I reckon, another 20. So there's a reason they moved Critter over to the left, and Burton's a big part of that. You've got Critter, Burton, and Galvin chiming in. Sometimes Tracy linking up with Kickout onto Carraz. You're talking about the elite edge in the competition that is only matched by South Sydney when it's at its best. So, look, I think people should be excited about that. They really should. I can see their point of view about having Burton on the left and Critter going back to the right edge. And defensively, I think we would go really well. But in attack, we would suffer, in my opinion, big time. And until we have our young middles ascending to where we know they're going to be, they're still not quite there yet, but they're better than they were last year. They're going to be better again next year. Burton kicking is essential to our game plan. So just don't understand why we just default to this position. I think I look forward to the day when Burton, Galvin and Mitch Woods are all playing together, all in spine positions. And a ball playing rock is a spine position these days, especially the way we play. And I would expect that one of our halves will be dominating both sides of the ruck and having 90 to 100 touches per game in the future, not having 50 or 60 like Sexton used to have, people playing that sort of role. Our 6 will have about 50 to 60, and our 7 will have between 85 to 100 every single game, because that's where we want to ascend to. That's what elite sides do. We want to be an elite team. We have to play the elite game. And unfortunately, rugby league at the moment is a little bit cookie cutter. It's the team that's the most patient, the team that's the fittest, the team that's the most aggressive, the team that holds possession wins. And we tick a lot of those boxes. We've just got to probably, for Bulldogs fans, we'd like to see a little bit more aggression and punch through the middle at times. But our young spine is developing, and so the biggest worry with Bronson Xerri leaving is the 3 amigos being upset, because they are a really fun group to watch. You know what I mean? Bailey Hayward, Jacob Carraz, and Bronson Xerri. They're joined at the hip. They're brothers, and I'm sure nothing will change in that regard. Let's hope there hasn't been an off-field incident. I'm sure if there was, the Dogs would protect all interests. They'd want to see Bronson find a home. where he gets good money and gets to thrive. But trust me, guys, if they're allowing him to go, if they do allow him to leave, it's because they think it'll be the best thing for our club and the best thing for Bronson as well.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. It doesn't have to be, a horrible breakup. But I'm sure, but part of the semantics of these things for clubs is leaking stuff. Sometimes it's not true, just like it's managers leak stuff that's not true all the time. Managers have the power at the moment, so clubs have to do what they've got to do to manage business. They've got to manage all the people there. They've got to do all that stuff. So it's an enviable position. It's a position you would want to have if you've got those skills, but at the same time, it's fucking hard. Yeah.
And don't
I don't know
forget
how
the
loud
Bulldogs
I'm
are the ones that gave. Don't forget the Bulldogs gave Bronson a chance
Yes.
when nobody else did.
Yes.
So we could have easily just let him go and not even giving him. We gave him a chance when no one else did. So, we're all about believing in redemption and whatever. And we saw something that no other team did. And we've given him a couple of years to get the best out of him. And if for whatever reason something's happened now that they feel like they've reached that limit, there is no more sort of to come out of it, then they would make a decision as well, mutually. And if it hurts for Bronson to hear it, maybe, and he wants an immediate release, for example, then that's just part of the business, unfortunately. But the Bulldogs, they live and die by the decisions they make, and they've given him an opportunity where he was in the wilderness for a few years. No one even knew what he was going to come back as. So he trained hard, worked hard, did his speed training with Roger Fabry, did everything he could to get himself back, and met with Gus and knew straight away that he wanted to be part of, the big picture. Now we've come back. I mean, I just, as I said earlier, the player that I said this year when I nominated was going to be my biggest improver that needs to really take it to another level was Bronson Xerri. If those who have come onto the podcast would have heard me say that a few weeks ago. I still feel like he hasn't believed in himself. When you watch him play, he does all the little things right, but he doesn't believe in himself the way and play freely like he used to play before he went away for his suspension, where he was that attacking enigma, had that speed to burn and was just raw. At the moment, he sort of just is more of a defensive centre, works very hard in what he does, but he doesn't sort of create and have a lot of that attacking flair and that risk and everything else that you need sometimes in that player. And maybe at the moment, it's limited. Maybe when he had the Fox with him, it sort of made him look a bit better. And now maybe without him, it's not working. Who knows? There's a lot of things that we could raise and discuss. But yeah, I think if the Bulldogs are okay with him not being in the club, then there's obviously a reason for it. And whatever it is, guys, we've given him the opportunity. We've given him a couple of years. It's his third year now. If it's not going to work out, then so be it. It would be hard for him, like I said at the start, guys. Bronson's the kind of player that suffered a lot in his 4 years away. It's a dark place, guys. For anyone who knows anything about what he went through, and I read and heard a lot about him, talking. It was a very dark time. He didn't want to talk about rugby league. He thought about a lot of bad things. Needed to have some really strong people around him. So when you've had that experience where you've suffered a lot of sort of things on your own and you're in a bad place, and if something comes up now and it sort of makes you feel like and brings that evokes that memory in you, it would be hard to deal with. And the first thing you want to do is just run away and not fight.
Yeah.
So that would be something potentially there. I mean, we don't know. We're speculating on a lot of things, guys, but from the information that we know, from what we've got, from what we can see, these are all things that we have to consider as well.
Yeah.
So Phil Gould,
stuff,
guys,
mate.
has just released. I'm just going to read something that Phil Gould has just released. This is straight from Phil Gould. So this is what I know. Joe spoke with Bronson and his manager. Neither Bronson Xerri nor his manager has asked for a release. Neither Bronson nor his manager has spoken to the media. Neither can explain where the media stories have started. Bronson and I will be having a breakfast together tomorrow before training. Bronson will be training with the NRL squad tomorrow, as per usual. Not sure what else I can tell you. So
There you go, guys. There you go. So I'll talk now. Sorry, guys.
So if
Really
you guys
appreciate
can
you
hear that,
showing that. From, yep.
I'll read it to you guys again if you didn't hear it.
Can you not hear me,
so
guys?
This is straight from Gus Gould only a few minutes ago. This is what I know, he says. Just spoke with Bronson and his manager. Neither Bronson Xerri nor his manager has asked for a release. Neither Bronson nor his manager has spoken to the media. Neither can explain where the media stories have started. Bronson and I will be having breakfast together tomorrow before training. Bronson will be training with the NRL squad tomorrow, as per usual. Not sure what else I can tell you. So,
Hey, mate. Can you hear me?
you guys hear that?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you guys? Yeah,
Yeah, because I was trying to cut in 100 times before.
You were off the screen altogether.
Yeah, I just went off
Yes,
and then came back in because you couldn't hear me.
So you heard what I said about the message from Gus?
Yeah. Yep. Really good stuff, mate. Thanks for sharing that with everyone. So that's the things, guys. Look, Gus, as I said, the club's going to do what they're going to do, and Gus will manage it the way he manages it. It's definitely something in my gut that I feel could be true. And obviously, you know, Xerri and his management would have said that they didn't speak to anyone.
Initiate.
And they probably didn't. And Gus wouldn't have spoken to anyone, so he probably didn't, but that doesn't mean someone else didn't speak to somebody. That makes sense. But at the end of the day, there's all this discussion now about Burton going to centre. We know it was going to come up. Yeah, he won a grand final because they found a spot for him in the team because he was too good to leave out. He got the man of the match at halfback playing. Well, he wore the number 7, but he plays as a 6, playing for Penrith during Origin period, and kicked a field goal to win a game. I'm pretty sure that happened. But he was requested a release to go to the Bulldogs so he could start early. And they said, no, we're going to train you up at centre because we believe you'd be the best option for us in a stacked team. And he did a fantastic job because he's a phenomenal player. Again, I'm going to say it again. I want you to think about it. The coach knows what he's doing. The coach isn't going to sit there. If you've watched our coach, he just doesn't sit there and chop and change everything. And we lost games at the end of last year with a player that came in to a team that was suffering huge disruptions through injuries, let alone changing positions. We've talked about that till we're blue in the face. And we lost our captain in the final series. You take the captain out of any other team and they don't win a game in the final series. I'm sorry, they don't. You take the captain, the best player out of the team, they all lose. Okay, we lost ours. So it was an impossible task and we had numerous injuries. And the person who shone the brightest, who won a game for us, who ran the ball more than Burton did, and that's a fact. You can go through the stats. Burton never ran the ball more than Galvin did. Burton runs the ball better than Galvin, I will say that. when he does run. We need Burton's kicks at the moment. We need the depth of what he can do. That's important. And the only reason they will put Burton out into that centres and make that change is if the next man up in Anari Tuala, Jonathan Sewell, get injured. That's the only way it will happen. Okay?
That's the only way it happened
Before
last year.
then,
It was last man standing.
it's a next man up mentality. That's it.
Mm.
And people don't get that. The coach said for our semis, he goes, I'd rather bring Toby and Reed back in and shift Burton because Toby and Reed, I trust them more than I trust the other guys on the sideline, which would have been, I don't even know who we had. Would have been Jonathan Sewell, would have been the next man last year.
Mm.
He would have been the next man up
Or
because we lost Rennie
Blake
Palmer.
Wilson.
Yeah, or Blake Wilson.
Yep.
And obviously there was some stuff going on there. So we just got to keep our heads together and
Yeah.
you know, when we say, oh yeah, he won a premiership, it's because he's an elite player who can play centre really well. And look
And look at the
if
halves.
we go
Look at the
down
halves he had. Look at the halves that he had.
yeah,
He was playing
Cleary and
centre.
Luai feeding him the ball.
Exactly.
And as I go.
Exactly.
And he had kick out. He had kick out outside him.
When you put it in
You know
context
what I mean?
like this, people, that's what you look at. You don't just look at him playing in that position. You got to look at who's feeding him. And when you got those three,
Exactly.
4 players feeding him the ball, it doesn't matter who you are. You know, they're going to make you look good. Look at the players that the Panthers have got now in the centres. They look good because you've got those players giving them the ball and feeding them.
Exactly.
So it's just that Burton is a good player as it is, guys. He's our best, most creative half that we've got. Even you saw in Vegas that little grubber kick through the line. He's that's the kind of player that he is. He'll come up with those things that are unorthodox because that's how he is. He's a good running half, but he's obviously his strength is also his kicking game, and he's getting better every time he plays. And at the moment, irrespective of what anyone says, he is still the best half that we've got in the club. And he will be in the club as long as he wants to be in the club.
Yeah. Can you still hear me, mate?
Yep, still hearing you, mate. Yep.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's just if I answer a call or message, do something, my audio seems to cut out. So I was just checking.
Yep. It's your fault for knowing too many people, mate.
Yeah. Andy sent about 75 messages. Gavin isn't Terry Lamb and he can't play 7 and 6. Well, John, Gavin's 20 years old, mate. Well, no one's comparing him to Terry Lamb. I don't know who he is. It's definitely not us. Yeah, I think it's time to, I've heard your opinion, buddy. Everyone on the chat's heard it. We appreciate you being part of the community, but honestly, you don't need to say it again. People who watch it will see it 24 times as well.
And guys, you got to remember, Galvin is still not the player that we got him for. He's still building into whatever he's going to become with the Bulldogs. It's still going to continue to happen. He's only 20. He was 19 when we got him, and as he develops over the next few years, you're going to start to see what Lachie Galvin's going to be, wherever that might be. But the club's 100% behind him, and he is ticking every single box that they put in front of him to become the player that they want him to become. So, guys, you just have to be patient with Lachie Galvin because he's doing exactly what the club's asking and more. He's exceeding their expectations. And anyone who can watch half a game of football would have seen him play in Vegas and can see that even in the off-season, he's come a long way and he's going to continue to come each time we play. So this narrative of 6 and 7 to me is non-existent anymore, guys. That even the way that the Bulldogs play, it doesn't work anymore that way. We don't have a traditional squad. We've got a whole team. We've got Kurt Mann is one of our players that goes into the line more than any other player in our club. And
Jamin
the
Salmon.
way that our Bulldog team, exactly, the way that the Bulldogs play is completely different from anything else. That's the structure. That's the team that we've got. We have to work with the strengths of our team. So if all of you think that you can just put a traditional player in a position and say, do your job and say, that's it. No, we've got a team structure. You know, it's always, you know, what's Gus say? The we before me. And that's how we play as a team. It's the same story we speak about, guys. In the game last week, nobody could sit there and put one person as a man of the match. And that's how it's always going to be with the Bulldogs, because everyone's playing to a team structure. Galvin did his job. Burden did his job. Every one of those players did their job, guys. And Critter iced it at the end. Even Hayward passed it to him on a dime. Everybody did their job in that game, guys. So it's so don't expect all these miracles and everything from these players, you know, especially at 20 years of age. Let them develop, let them get to where they're going to get to, and don't put all this pressure and expectation on them, as the media did for the last 12 months so far. You know, unrightly so, because at the moment it's so easy for anybody to just throw the word Galvin out there, and then everyone evokes some emotions as well. It's not fair, guys.
No, it's ridiculous.
So it's gone way too far and too long. So if people think that
It's
that's
actually
something that they can talk
proven.
About,
Look. Someone said that they. Sorry, we can't sort of read all the comments because they're really small and my fingers are big. But they said it could all be bullshit just to get us talking about Galvin and Burton again. And I'm like, look, I reckon there's an element of truth to it, guys. But I think, I just think you just got to wait for it all to play out, and they'll sort it out. And what it'll come down to, in my opinion, this is just my gut feel, and I've got a big gut, and we're rarely wrong. We're rarely wrong, but we do get it wrong, but it's rare, and that's validated on these podcasts as a historical record. The thing is, if Galvin wants to stay at the club for this season, he will need to. It's not Galvin, sorry. Now I'm saying Galvin. If Xerri wants to stay at this club, I'm sure he will be able to fulfil his contract, no problem. Does that mean he plays first grade automatically? Well, we automatically pick him in our team. But as Gas pointed out, and many people did, actually, they're a bit worried about Bronson. He doesn't look as crisp and as fast and as fit, as energetic as he did even last year, and he struggled with injury last year. I just put it down to the trials and early season, fitness, and getting back to it. But there could be something there in that as well. Maybe he's struggling with the demands. Maybe he, as Gas was saying, if there's a chance that he won't be re-signed next year, or the Dogs aren't making him an offer right now, or have made him an offer and they don't like it, that can make people, struggle as well, and make it harder for them to perform as well. As people handle adversity differently. But it's just funny. Like the funniest thing for me is that as soon as this was announced, people were less concerned about Bronson and more concerned with moving Burton to centre and bringing O'Sullivan into halfback and completely changing everything. No, and that's fine. That's fair enough. Whatever you want to say and do, whatever you think, that's your opinion. You're entitled to it. But at this podcast, the reason we go over things so often is we're trying to give you insights to actually see what the coach is likely to do. And we've made many wins in that area, because I can tell you now, most people, wouldn't expect the coach now to move Burton. They know he won't move Burton. They want him to, but most of them know that he won't. unless it's forced due to injuries. And that's a big step in the right direction. They're getting to know the coach and the system, and that's something that we've been really big on here, talking about. How am I going? Do I sound like I'm huffing and puffing?
Yeah, you're right, mate. You're working hard, mate. Keep it going, mate.
Yeah, got to lose weight so I can
He's
get
already
into
hit
the
his targets,
O'Neills.
guys. He's hit his targets, guys,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's
So
overachieving now. Keep pushing him, guys.
yeah,
Keep
that's it. We're
supporting
going
him.
to do 190 Ks, not just 90. We're going to do 190 Ks
There you go.
for the month of March. And we've already made, it says we've made about 1,050, but there's about another 180 to be added to it.
There you go, guys.
So proud of you guys for helping out. It's been absolutely amazing. But Bronson Xerri, thank you, Timmy. I appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, so look, let's think about, first of all, that regardless of what happens, Bronson Xerri is a human, as is his manager, as is, we should be try and be as respectful as we can. I've got numerous messages from people asking me to go live. I actually wasn't going to go live today, to be honest. I was just going to do a little pre-recorded video for 5 minutes. But no, it's good. There's currently about 200 and something people watching across the different platforms, which I think is a record for our live streams. Most of our viewers normally watch it over the whole next week.
That means we must have a lot of early sleepers, mate.
That's it, mate. That's it.
We stay up too late, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, a lot of working class people that good family people who get on and watch. It's great, mate. Like we go to what's happening, mate.
I was going to say, I guess from what we just said about Gus, I guess for him having breakfast with Xerri tomorrow morning before training is going to be something important as well. So whatever there may be, look, usually something like this, when it happens, there's usually an underlying cause. Potentially there's something in the water somewhere, guys. It doesn't just stem out of nothing.
He wouldn't
yeah,
be having breakfast with him otherwise.
Exactly. So he wouldn't be having. So that's what So for us at the moment, look, let's just see what happens tomorrow. This is all to do with Bronson Xerri and his manager and the club. It's got nothing to do with any other player in the team, guys. That's what we have to look at now. It's all to do with Xerri and whatever's going on there, and that's it. So if something's happened, Gus will get to the bottom of it tomorrow. And everybody knows, if you mislead Gus, it's not a good thing. Just ask the Fox, guys. So that's what he'll be sitting there tomorrow, and he knows that he's the one that gave Xerri the opportunity post his suspension. So he'll get whatever he needs to get out of him tomorrow, and then we'll move on, whatever that might be, guys. Everybody needs to just be respectful of the decision either way, if it's good or bad, and move on, because the club will act in the best interest of the club and for the player as well. So if they believe that whatever's happening and Xerri's decided that, now that this will stem through, he might even be sitting here listening to this now. Who knows? If all these people sit there and think that's what's going to happen and that's what's going to be the best thing for them, then so be it, guys. We need to all support them, just like we do with every player that has left the club. If they leave the club and they go somewhere else, we just support them and move on. But it was good to see Reed Money have a great game today, guys. He was the saviour for the Cowboys. So, he carried them on his shoulder, and was that the result? Did they win? Oh no, sorry, I missed. I thought they won the game there. Sorry, guys, but
that?
We still support the guys. Reed Money, mate. Reed Money carried the Cowboys on his shoulder, mate, and got them home in a heavy loss. But it was good to see Gerard Skelton score an awesome try.
That's what we said in the trial, Gas. We said when I was like, North Queensland look like the Bulldogs of 2022. The way they've gone about it, they've got a much better side than we had. But they've picked a team to play our side that really should have put, should have won 50. Should have scored a heap more points.
Yeah.
And they had all the possession. They had the wind behind them. Actually was a breeze behind them that day. Our boys struggled to kick out of their own end.
Yeah.
And then the next game, they loaded up against a team that had even less first graders or potential first graders in it. So everyone's like, oh, the Cowboys are on fire. I'm like, no, they're not. They're fucking, we'll see how good they go. And Newcastle come and sort of got a lot of confidence. We'll see how Newcastle go against their arch rivals Manly. West first game, you'd think the Cowboys would have had a little bit of fitness. I suppose they've come back from Las Vegas though, so there's always that little thing, question mark. But all the clubs work together, as Gus said, helping each other to ensure that they all have a great preparation and work together, especially the Dogs and the Dragons clubs. But I just think Cowboys are in a world of hurt. And I'm not going to put it on Reid Marnie. They brought Reid Marnie to their club, and the reason they wanted him to go early, and he agitated. It's one of those things. I want to stay, but I've got someone who really wants me right now. So you give me a pay rise now and sort out my future, and I'll stay. And the club's like, no, we actually want to talk about a downgrade. That's as close as you'll get to the truth, I reckon. Validated by his brother in his fits of rage at Bailey Haywood. So look, there's a lot of stuff out there, but I thought Todd Payton brought Reid Marnie to that club to try and help them, try and save his job. And it's not a good start to the season for them. Well done to West, because they've all actually picked a side with Adam Dewey at number 7. Is that right, Adam Dewey?
Oh, no, he can't play 7, mate. He's a 6, mate. He can't play 7.
He's a 6.
What are you talking
He
about?
can't play 7.
No, he can't play. No, he can't play 7. What are you talking about?
He's a 6.
And Luai's a 6
Actually, he
or 7.
used to be
I
a
don't know.
fullback in the centre. He should play centre.
What's Luai doing? Is he a 6 or a 7? What's he doing? I don't know anymore.
West Tigers won a game. They actually won a game when Dewey played centre.
There you go.
They didn't win a comp. It's just so funny. No, he's a great player, Adam Dewey, by the way. Great leader. Very likeable. Love the way he plays rugby league. He just gets so injured. What else is there? So let's support the club and Bronson Xerri and whatever happens. And the next man up, in my opinion, will be an Ari Tuala. I'm dead set certain it'll be that. If he has another injury or something like that, they'll probably go to Jonathan Sewer next. He's in our top 30. And then after that, we've got some wingers out there like Renakama coming back. He'll definitely come into play. So there's lots that they can do. And I think you keep your side structured the way that you plan it for the first 10 rounds anyway. Birdo, Kickow, Crichton and Carraz. That's the structure there. Galvin floating either side, Tracy floating either side. Salmon and Mann doing their thing. Hayward at dummy. There's your spine, right there for the foreseeable future. And when that happens, I'm expecting good things. Now, if they don't get what if we have a few injuries or they don't get the return on the investment they've made, maybe they look at some other things down the track and start
And you got to look
start
at something
planning
like
for other things.
how
No.
many times people will speculate about what they want in the team, but the coach has shown how how much he's got a structure that he wants to play and the team that he wants to play. People have been throwing all of these, different permutations about players and who they want and what they want, and it's if you're picking the team, it can be so easy to do if you just follow what the coach is trying to do. Everybody
Yeah,
always wants all
that's it.
these out of left fields and all these and critter the fullback and look at all the guys that are all the podcasters all throwing up their spins and everybody's talking about
Oh,
different
Burton the
players.
fullback. Burton the
Burden the
fullback.
fullback and all these things, guys. No, the coaching team and everyone in the club doesn't listen to all this stuff, guys. They don't care about all
Yeah.
this stuff. If you look at the club, you look at the team, the way that we play, guys. We just spoke about Penrith, how they've got Cleary at the time. They had Luai, they had Isaiah Yao, and they had Kikau feeding players like Burden and everyone else to do what they did. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Look at the way the Bulldogs play. When we've got our players in our team, we've got our way of playing. We've got our way of playing, and we're still building and developing that. That's why they went and changed their attacking coach this year, guys, because they want to improve. They know that defense is okay. We've got defense under control, but we need to be better in attack. If everybody wants to look at a sample size of one game against the Dragons, then you're shot in the head. Look at the games you've had. Parramatta lose by 50, then beat Brisbane. So don't worry about one games and two games. The most important thing we did that game was get the 2 points. We're going to build into the season, guys. What we've developed now, what we're developing, what we're doing is going to build into the season. Galvin's going to get better every time he plays. Everything in the team is going to be better every time that everybody plays. If as long as you're fit and healthy, everyone will do their job, and that's it. The hunger from losing the last 2 seasons the way they did is driving them to excellence, guys. Continue to drive to excellence. Excellence. You keep hearing it from the team all the time. So it doesn't matter what everybody's going to say. We don't sit here and throw all these left field things. People can speculate, and you can happily come on there and throw your suggestions. But we'll say it, and I'll say it, and Michael will say it time and time again. All these left field things aren't going to happen the way that you keep suggesting them with the way that the coaching staff and the team work. It's we're too consistent in the way that they approach it. They've got their methods. They've got what they want to do. And guys, it's working. We came third last year. It's not like we were in the bottom of the 8 or in the outside of the 8 and we were getting hammered. It's working for them. And it's only going to get better and better. So we've overturned our whole team from what it was 2 or 3 years ago. It's continuing to improve. That's why they brought Galvin in. But Galvin, people look at it and say, hang on, he's not working in the club. Well, you have to remember, when Galvin was at the Tigers, he was he was head and shoulders above anyone else, guys. He looked dangerous. He looked good. But no matter what you do when you bring someone to the Bulldogs, they're not going to look like that because we don't want them to be that. We want our players to all do their job. And that's what we do. And that's the way that the team is coached, guys. So Galvin, they want him to do his job. First of all, they wanted him to learn the defensive side because that's the most important thing. And that's what worked against guys like Blake Wilson, for example. He couldn't marry up the defense, and that was the most important thing to Seraldo, and that's why he was on the outer. As much as he was a good player and attacking, and he scored some good tries, if it doesn't work, guys, he'll give you a chance and chance and chance. If it doesn't work, then you're on the outer. Galvin, in the off-season, he made 35 tackles against the Dragons, guys, as a halfback in Vegas. So it tells you straight away how it's working for him. He puts his body in front of everyone. He's having a go. He's attacking. We already know it's there. We can see
He had 95 touches. 95 touches and ran the ball like 17, 18 times.
190 meters as well, guys. 190 meters for a halfback. So don't tell me that this is not working. This is exactly what the Bulldogs want out of him. Just like Bailey Hayward not running out of dummy half yet. There's a reason for that, guys. There's a reason for that. His job at the moment is not to run out of dummy half. He's not a Harry Grant, guys. As much as everybody wants a Harry Grant, he's not a Harry Grant right now. Does it mean he can become one? Who knows? That's up to Hayward. But right now, his job is to lock up that defense, to distribute the ball, to get those quick passes, and then when it matters, hit the pass for a winning field goal, and the rest is history, guys. But we know that Hayward's got a running game. We know that he can do other things. He played at 5'8" last year. But at the moment, the Bulldogs are working him to get to a level, to get to where they want him to be. If we keep expecting all of these things in every single game that we play, then you're starting to become delusional, guys. Yes, we're all passionate. We bleed blue and white. We want the best. But, guys, you have to just be patient with what we're trying to do. And that's why we try to talk as if it's the voice of reason. You know, information that Michael has got, that we've got, that understand the analysis, it's there to help us understand and give us. We can, if you want to go to other podcasts and listen to a lot of left field rambles and stuff, that's fine, guys. But when you're here with us, you got to understand we're talking about things that we know are going to be more than likely going to happen, and our accuracy is very, very good, guys. And you can always go back and listen to these podcasts and check something after or before the fact to see how close we were. So it's not off a whim. So we're here to keep. You know, a lot of the people now talking about all this Galvin stuff, to me, they've just been absolutely hammered by Fox, guys. So I haven't been watching Fox for a long time, but that's what it tells me. People of the narratives have just got to their heads, and these people just automatically believe. Yeah.
One of the issues is there's some Bulldogs pages out there that sort of look like they're the official team page. So So when they post something, because they also post all the stuff the Bulldogs post as their own as well. And I do that as well with shorts and stuff. Often I'll change things on it and put my sort of scent on it. But sometimes I just share it because it doesn't need to be changed. It's just awesome. But you can clearly see that I'm not an official Bulldogs page. I'm the dog father. You know, or All Things Bulldogs. You know, we're not. But some of these other pages, I've got nothing against them, but people think that they're the official Bulldogs page. So a report comes up about Xerri, which says, and then someone says it, and then on the post it actually says, so should we move Burton to centre? I'm getting messages from different people thinking the club's come out and moving to centre. Because they think it's an official Bulldogs post. But I just wanted to highlight James, our beautiful mate from out Ipswich way. He says to go through what Xerri went through and come out the other side. I respect him. I know a lot of people that haven't come out the other side. I really hope he stays with us. And that's the sort of support. James you wouldn't find a more passionate Bulldog supporter. You might be just as passionate, but you're not more passionate than James. I'll say that right now. You can be equally as passionate, but not more. And he loves the Bulldogs, but he understands that when you miss 4 years in the game and go through things, to come out the other side is a massive deal. And that's why I'm doing this walk right now, to prevent veteran suicide. You know, these players aren't robots, guys. They're not players in a fucking PlayStation game. I've said it before. You know, some of them get no sleep because they've got new babies. You know, I know. We all have to deal with what we deal with, but there are reasons for us to have an off day. They're the same reasons for our players to sometimes have an off day, or to react badly to something, or do something wrong. So we need to be a little bit more forgiving and empathetic, I think. Still hold people accountable, hold them to standards, have the expectations really high if you want. That's being empathetic and understanding that sometimes you just aren't good enough. Sometimes players aren't as good as they need to be with our team or whatever. Sometimes the coach isn't the best coach for them. Sometimes your coach isn't the best coach for your club or your team. All these things happen, you know. With Bronson Xerri, I just think something's obviously going on there. He's going to have a meeting with Gus tomorrow morning, and then I'm sure we'll hear more after that. So our gut is right. There is something there. It's rare that normally when this happens, when you hear that a player wants an immediate release or wants a release, but we've heard it with players like we heard it with Reid Marnie, we heard it with Payne Huss at the Broncos twice. He stayed and won a premiership. Bronson Xerri's not Payne Huss, obviously, but it'll come if Bronson wants to see out his contract. I'm sure he will, and he'll be held to expectation, just like everybody else. If he wants out, I'm sure the club will make it work. If they allow him to go and get a release, as I said, it'll be in the best interests of the club and of Bronson Xerri. And that's just the game of rugby league, guys. That's what it is. Still got 200 people watching. But thanks for that comment, James. Who else has we got?
And look, I mean, for those who are watching checking on the games, guys, the Storm went out to a 12-0 lead. Dragons hit back with a try to be 12-4, missed a goal, and they've just scored again. Val Holmes, so it's 12-8 with a kick to come, still in that first half. So to just showing sort of the form that the Dragons have got against a sort of Melbourne team. So they're still coming. So
that's the thing. Dragons are focused on the grind. They're focused on staying in there and really executing. They basically had 2 opportunities with us, which were created from our own errors and discipline, and they executed them. So,
yep,
we'll never ever under threat outside of that. But that's how you get back into it. That's how you become a successful team. They're all seeing it at Canterbury. They're seeing it at Penrith. But Penrith took a bit longer. It's like you sign all these blokes to come to your club. And that's what's the hard thing, guys. You sign all these blokes to come to your club, paying a few of them more than what they're worth. You get your club back competitive again. And then it does take time for those juniors to actually hit their mark. Like Penrith made a prelim in a couple of years, and then they were probably disappointing for the next. It took them longer than people thought. It took them longer than Gus thought. But I think he would have learned a lot of lessons from that. Canterbury are a lot different club. And I think the fact that they made the decision to make sure that, whilst the highest paid players in the game were getting $1 million plus, he basically set the ceiling at about 800, 850 for us until we got ourselves going. And I think that's enabled us to send quicker than what I thought. I know we wanted it to happen even faster than that, guys. I disagree, And I don't think they got every call right. But overall, we're seeing a big return on the investment. We're winning games. We win close games. We win tough games. We go to Las Vegas. And we win there. And now we've and I 100% believe if we don't lose Critter and Burton to injury before the last games, we win a final last year. So this wasn't meant to be in the end.
Yep, we got hammered by the ref at Melbourne as well. But
disgusting calls.
Yeah. I will say for last night though, guys, not sure if any of you guys went out, but I was out at the Roosters and the Rabbitohs game, and I was, very fortunate enough to witness the historical moment when obviously Alex Johnson scored his record-breaking 213th try. And like a few others, I managed to get myself straight onto the field and run out there, and I've obviously shared that online as well. I actually was able to record the sort of the last 30 meters of his run as well before he got across for the try. I just had this inkling he might be due soon, so I was up and ready for it, and then kept it recording and got on the field. The police were very nice guys. They actually were the ones. There was one officer right next to me trying to open the gate for us so we wouldn't have to jump over. They were not trying to stop us. They were actually helping us.
I actually posted it. I posted it all over YouTube and Facebook. Your video, which shows the policemen helping.
Yeah, they were actually trying to help us, guys. And we just wanted to get out there, so we actually still jumped over anyway, and we went straight out there. But everybody was respectful. Everybody did the right thing. We celebrated the moment, the whole thing was over. And before you knew it, like I looked at the time from when I was recording the try, and then I looked at the time when we got back to our seats. It was less than 10 minutes. And then once they cleared the rest of the field, the whole thing was over in 15 minutes. And then obviously they did a sweep. They did a sweep of the field. The security and all the people lined up in one straight line and then walked across the whole field and basically made sure that there was nothing left on the field that the player could fall on, and a blade or something. So they did a sweep. And then they said, okay, players come back out again. So the whole thing was done. But it was just an amazing moment. And there was a historical thing as well. So the final score 26-18, losing team for Alex Johnson. What people don't realise was when Ken Irvine broke the record 53 years ago, he was also in a losing team 26-18.
Yeah, there you go.
So it was just crazy, guys. But yeah, unbelievable scenes yesterday. But for those that are on now, obviously we're talking about
Alex
Bronson Xerri as well. Why this podcast we kicked off, as you've seen from the subjects. Yeah, mate, you're still there, mate. You there? Walkie-talkie. Yeah. So guys, Mike, we're back now, mate. If you can hear us.
Oh, that's good.
So yes, Bronson Xerri, guys, as we've spoken about, Bronson Xerri was, there was a rumor about it. Gus has come out and spoken about it as well, and basically, it's all, it's all going to be discussed tomorrow over breakfast. So apparently there was no discussion from Bronson or his manager about what's come up. So the fact that it's all become, very serious, Gus made the call, put it on his Twitter account, the X account, whatever you want to call it, and off he goes. So that was sort of what they did. So I think, guys, if there is anything underlying, if there is any information about Xerri, if there is anything there that's been leaked by someone, even if it's a third party to someone that's wanted to leak it just to start to stir the pot because they're not happy about something, then all will be revealed soon, guys. So, we can't be thinking like these things are going to destabilize, or, we've been through worse things in the past that have caused a bit of, like look at last year, for
100%.
example. I mean, how much more can we suffer from what we suffered last year, guys? So whatever it is, guys, we're ready for it. Bring it on. It is what it is. And Rhett, I think you're asking if we're expecting a fine. No, mate, I don't think they're going to fine 20,000 people for running on the field and coming off when they can stop us. Yeah, even Albanese was on there. Albanese was walking on the field. So, look, they had to deter it. They had to say no. Even the people that
Insurance.
from the Rabbitohs, they were talking about it, saying, look, we can't stop it. We know it's not going to be able to stop. But they were actually happy that it happened against the Roosters. It just happened to be in that state, in that ground, in that precinct. Where the Rabbitohs feel like, well, actually, the Rabbitohs have won more games at the SCG in that domain than even the Roosters have. So in that space, so it's their sort of home as much as anyone else. So they were happy that it happened there as well. And
that was
for
a great,
us,
mate. It was a great. Oh, sorry,
yeah,
mate.
yeah. I was going to
I
say
was
it's
just going
probably
to
a
come
good
in.
thing that it's. No, I was going to say it's probably a good thing that it didn't still stem all the way up to sort of Good Friday, because that would have caused a lot of distraction in the game as well against the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
So it's probably good that it's out of the way now. So, yeah, sorry, mate.
Well, the way the game was played, it actually was worse for the Rabbits because they had the ball for the first 20 minutes, even though they didn't score. The Roosters got a couple of tries, which was poor defence by the Rabbits, but they got that try back quite easily, and then they make that break straight after half time. I know it was straight after half time, so both teams should have been well rested anyway. But I do believe that the Roosters would have been as equally as tired as the Rabbits come the end, and I think it made the difference just in the mental fatigue of a couple of the Rabbits players. And I also believe that the 5-day turnaround into that game, so the Bunnies didn't help them either. So yeah, look, I think if that game continued to flow, I think the Rabbits are a much better chance of winning it, put it that way. But anyway, and I think that's why Wayne Bennett didn't want it to happen, because he knew.
Correct.
It was like us with the lightning strike. We were all over the Rabbits. As soon as that delay happened, they just get to reset. We've already basically got the game won. It's about us just protecting our lead. And they had nothing to lose, and they played a bit like that. But yeah, big thanks to you guys for sharing that with all of us. Brett says he thinks they will fine everyone and give the accumulated amount to the Roosters. Ruby Labolo Carey. So Bronson leaving the Bulldogs was kind of a rumour. Look, I don't think it's a rumour. I think it's I think there's some fire around the smoke. But look, Gus is honest when he said he hasn't said anything, and I probably believe Bronson, his manager, didn't say anything either. So we'll just leave the rest to what happened. But obviously he's going to have a meeting with him tomorrow, which would suggest that there's some little crinkle or crease. It could be a tear, it could be a rip, you don't know. But something has to be mended and needs some attention, and that's what will happen over hopefully a nice wholesome brekkie for both parties tomorrow morning. And then we will hear more from the great people. Make sure you like and subscribe, guys, on this podcast. I'm going to go and cook myself a Weber in a moment, have a couple of steaks after I've done my 5K walk. I'm going to enjoy that. Thank you all the comments, even all the Galvin to 6 and he's not a 7 and blah, blah, blah. Like it really matters. I still haven't had any of those people tell me what he doesn't do when they can. And they can tell me that, then they'll get more
Voice.
probably a bit more respect. Maybe I'll change my opinion if they can demonstrate to me how he's not better outside of results of the entire team that was decimated by injuries, a bunch of stuff. So, all right, people, I think that's enough for us. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. I'm hoping that Bronson is with the club. If he's the best option for this week, I hope he makes the team. If he's not the best option, whoever that player is, I hope they do well against the Raiders. I'm expecting it'll be a game that'll be like a round one game for us. We could be a bit clunky. I'm not making excuses. these are genuine reasons when you've had that big break. But I think it will serve us really well over the middle parts of the season. I think we'll get to build in nicely. So hopefully we can come out firing against a Raiders team that obviously had their pants pulled down against the Warriors. We've been on the road for the first 2 weeks of the season. We've played back-to-back 6-day turnarounds. Coming home from New Zealand's like a 5-day turnaround for them. So they've got plenty of excuses as well. But it all sets up for a really massive clash next Thursday night. We'll be live on Tuesday. And we'll probably do something late Thursday night after the game, or definitely do a review on the Friday. But that's something we're going to try and do more and more of. If we can't do a review, I'll do like a video review or something like that. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. And
Dragons are in again, mate.
there you go. So you know.
Yep.
But this is what I mean. People go, okay, well, the Bulldogs beat the Dragons by a point. Dragons beat the Storm. The Storm beat the Eels by 50. The Eels beat the Broncos. So that means the Bulldogs are the best team in the comp at the moment. Maybe that's true. But see if
And
Dragons
beware
can
the
play it
wounded,
for
mate.
80 minutes.
After the Raiders will be
That's
hungry too, which is, that result was bad for us.
Well, that's what I
that
said.
would be bad for us. They're going to come out even more hungry. Yep, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's what I said.
A danger game, big danger game. So yeah, that's right.
They were embarrassed. They were embarrassed in New Zealand. And it's their first home game as well. Their first home game.
Well,
All right,
34-0 second half. That's it.
That's it. Thanks to everyone for their comments. Sorry I didn't get to everyone. Have a good night. And remember, be kind to our players. Be kind to our club. Be kind to each other. If people are hanging shit on our players, block them and don't engage. Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Like, subscribe, and share. Go the Dogs.
Later.
See you guys. Bye, mate.
Yo, what up, guys? Want to give a massive shout out to All Things Bulldogs. If you guys haven't watched their podcast, check them out. Let's go.
Hey guys, Tuesday nights